Hey all, here OS Reviews. You're watching our hands-on review of the Oaxis Timepiece. This is a interesting smartwatch that has a Swiss movement analog watch on top, but also a smaller OLED display underneath that you can use to see notifications, your heart rate status, date information, and some basic things like that. In terms of the company, Oaxis is probably more known to you guys for making accessories like the ink case, which are these really unique smartphone cases like for the iPhone that has an e-ink display on the back, which you can use for ebook reading and for seeing notifications. But this is one of their wearable products that is currently live on Kickstarter, and pricing starts at $89. So it's a decent price for a very premium looking wearable. It's very classy. Definitely is something that if you're a businessman, you would still enjoy wearing on your wrist compared to a lot of the Android Wear watches, which are typically bulkier and don't really look as professional. So this is a kind of cheaper alternative to that, but also doesn't have as many functions on board. For instance, it's not really a sports watch, so it doesn't have built-in GPS. It's just something very simple, but shows you quick notifications at a glance. And it features sleep tracking as well, which is done automatically. Now again, the Kickstarter special price is $89, but once this ends, it will actually go up to $159. And at that price, it's a little bit less competitive in my opinion, but it's still a few bucks cheaper than its closest competitor in terms of design and features, which would be the Nokia or the Withings Steel HR and the Steel HR Sport, which came out a few months back. And it also has this analog and OLED style, but sells for about $200 online. So inside we have the watch itself. This is what it looks like. It says a fine timepiece. It's not only an accessory. We've also got the aforementioned wireless charging dock that simply uses micro USB to be plugged into power. It takes about an hour to completely charge. Again, you only need to do it 12 times a year since the battery lasts a month. Taking a closer look at the design of the watch first, the build quality feels extremely premium, again made out of solid stainless steel and this curved / domed mineral glass on the front here, which is scratch resistant and kind of curves off gently at the edges. We just see the Oasis logo and we have the marks for the time. You can tap on the crown key here once to wake up the OLED display underneath here. Something that's interesting is you don't see the pogo contact points directly on the back, even though it uses these 2 points to charge it, and that's because the entire surface is conductive. So you can set it up at basically any angle on the dock and it will still charge. The watch strap itself is just made out of a rubber material. It's pretty comfortable and also has the Oasis logo on the very top. Here's a quick size comparison. We have the Oasis Timepiece, and on the right we have the Lenovo Watch 9, which is another analog smartwatch, but it doesn't have a rechargeable battery and also doesn't have an OLED display for seeing notifications. Takeaway is all three of these watches are some of the smallest and lightest wearables on the market, and they are all pretty similar in terms of overall dimensions. So again, tapping on the crown will wake up the display. You do need to exert a little bit more force than I'm used to cycle and trigger the button, but a firm press will get you through the date. You can also see the battery status underneath, number of steps I've walked today. Here is the distance converted to kilometers. This is also the calories burned, the latest heart rate measurement, which can be set up to do the actual analog watch. As you can see there, just has a minute and the hour hand. It doesn't have the second hand, just to conserve on battery. You don't really hear the ticking like you would do on a mechanical watch, for instance. Possible improvement would be a luminous dial, which is glow in the dark, because right now, if you turn off all the lights, it's a little bit hard to actually see the time in the dark since these dials themselves aren't illuminated. Furthermore, again, the digital watch face here only shows you the date. It doesn't actually tell you the time. But let's take a closer look at the app next. The companion app is called Timepieces. You can find it in the Play Store and in the iOS store for iPhones. When you first open up the application, it will go through a quick tutorial that says it has sleep tracking, some basic sport monitoring, notifications, and health. Afterwards, you can log in or create an account using an email, and you'll be greeted to this interface where you should tap on pair your timepiece on the top there. Just like the Nokia Watch 9, when you first pair it, you have to calibrate the watch face, and because it's an analog style, it will actually have to move the dial around and round by itself to get to the correct time. But once calibrated, we can return to this main menu, and it's pretty simple. We can drag down here to refresh, basically to sync information from the watch over to the phone, and a step count information on a chart here, so the number of steps I've taken today versus yesterday, percentage of the goal that I've met. If my goal was, let's say, 10,000 steps each day, here I can see the calories burned as well as the distance I've walked, and the automatic sleep tracking, which is actually fairly accurate. It tells you light versus deep and awake in terms of your sleep, but it doesn't tell you information like REM. We also see the heart rate information, and just tapping on the start here, we can do a manual recording. We will feel a quick vibration, and the heart rate screen will be splashed onto the OLED, another vibration, and the heart rate will be red. So it takes about 20 seconds, still is pretty fast. You can also create reminders for you, up to 6 different reminders that you can tap on manually, for instance, eating, taking your medicine, or going to a meeting, and you can set up a time and a day of the week. And after you save that, it's just going to vibrate and show you a quick icon on the small OLED screen. These are the types of notifications that the watch can display, including calls, SMS, emails, push notifications, calendar events, and social media. So a pretty complete list. However, the screen is definitely small, especially against a regular digital smartwatch. So you aren't able to actually see the full extent of a message, for instance. Instead, it just says you have a new call, the caller's name, or you have a new email and the subject line. If you want to read the description, you have to go over to the phone, but at least it gives you a hint of what is happening. One feature that's really cool is a heart rate alert setting. So if your heart rate exceeds a lower or upper limit that you can actually set, it will actually vibrate and give you a pop-up on the app, which is pretty cool because not many smartwatches actually have this feature. They just record the heart rate and you have to track it yourself. So again, the watch interface, it's simple, it's pretty elegant and straightforward. However, it is missing some of the more complex features that you may see from Fitbit, other more sports-oriented wearables, such as, again, sports tracking information. The sleek rounded corners and the soft touch rubber strap that they're using feels slightly more comfortable than the Lenovo Watch 9, which has much sharper edges and gets a little bit irritating on my skin after wearing it for longer periods of time, but this still feels extremely comfortable. And that's pretty much the whole premise of the Oaxis Timepiece, just a classic watch with a few smart features baked in that can tell you some vital statistics throughout your day, but doesn't really need to be treated like a regular smart accessory that has to be charged every day, for instance, and also doesn't look as classy as on a regular device. The performance here is quite good in terms of the steps, the accelerometer, and the sleep tracking, heart rate monitoring are all very accurate. It's just, it doesn't give you as much detailed statistics. So if all you need is a very simple smartwatch that looks classy and shows you, again, some basic step and heart rate information, some notification tracking, you want something that looks, again, extremely beautiful, which is harder than you'd think on a wearable. Many manufacturers can't get this right. I think this is a good option, especially compared to the Withings Steel HR, which is currently more expensive than this model, but has an almost identical design and feature set. So you can check out more details in the links down below if interested, but for now, that's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. That's been the Oaxis Timepiece.